Hello, one and all. It's my view of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, Chapter 119. I'm still here. And I've got to say, Koichi's greatest power isn't his quirk or his ability to get up time and time again, but rather it is the power to keep proving All For One wrong. I mean, seriously, All For One is the world's greatest evil genius. He has been controlling and manipulating people for 200 freaking years. He is so good at it in the main series, even though he's never met Deku before, he is perfectly able to control him, perfectly able to manipulate him like a freaking puppet. And in this chapter, he is convinced, he is 100% convinced that not only did Six's attack kill Koichi, but that reduced him to ash, leaving not even a body left to analyze and do research on. He is convinced of it, and yet Koichi still manages to rise. Not just, survive, not just, oh man, somehow I'm okay. He manages to stand back up and still proclaim that he wants to fight, to still keep the battle going. It takes a true man. It takes a true man to surprise All For One, and Koichi just keeps managing to do it, and I love it. I love it so freaking much. But still though, Jesus freaking Christ, Koichi, you are not looking too great here. I mean, it even says he's way past his limit, like way past his limit. I mean, there's something about him losing his All Might hoodie that makes him just seem so much worse for wear, so much more, bruised and damaged and broken, but at the same time, so much more manly or so much more serious. Like, he is really giving his all right now, even without his hoodie. I mean, let's not forget, there were many times in the series where Koichi said, I can't be a hero, I can't fight, I don't have my hoodie, I don't have my All Might hoodie. Then he's like, oh, wait a minute, that shop over there just happens to be selling All Might hoodies. Awesome, now I have my power, now I can fight. He's lost that, and he's still going. He is still giving his all to beat Six here, and I love it, I freaking love it. Though again, he is broken, he is very, very badly broken. I mean, let's not forget, even before Six punched him this time, Six's last attack from, a few chapters ago managed to break his arm and several of his ribs. There is no force in the world that should be keeping this man up, that should allow him to stand up. I mean, I know, his quirk is reinforcing his broken bones, so they don't break worse, they don't hurt more, but still, he should be in so much pain right now, and yet he still keeps going, not just because he has to protect the people, but because he even wants to save Six. And that's been a major theme we've seen in the main series, villains are people who were betrayed by society, who were abandoned by society, and if they just, have been saved at some point in their lives, they could have turned things around and become good, upstanding people. And that is especially true for Vigilantes, because most of the villains that Koichi has come across, especially at the start of the series, weren't actually villains. They are people who were drugged by Trigger, and as a result went completely out of control. They just needed somebody to hold them down long enough for the Trigger to wear off, and for them to regain their senses. And while Six is obviously not on Trigger, I mean, let's not forget the life Six has had. He was probably an orphan with a rather severe psychological disorder in which he had no sense of self. I'm not really sure how that affected him, but it couldn't have been all that great. And then he was adopted by All For One and his doctor, two of the most evil people on the planet, and raised to be a weapon. Six is abso-freaking-lutely a victim of All For One. I mean, that doesn't excuse what he's done, but at the same time, if you had lived the life Six had, can you really say that you would be any better, that you wouldn't be as insane and evil as he is? I'm just saying. And I just absolutely love how it's portrayed this chapter, as we see Six, trying to play with kids when he was young, and just no one wanting to play with them. I mean, he looks like a potato here, but we know that's just how he's viewing himself, when in reality, he looked like a normal kid. Again, I'm not really sure how his whole psychological disorder affected him, but I can assume that he had a very, very hard time making friends. Until Koichi showed up and played with him! Yay! And I'm, assuming this is metaphorical. I mean, I'm fairly certain this is metaphorical, though given this series, I would not be all that surprised to find out that Koichi and Six actually were friends as kids. They used to play together, and they just, both plumb forgot about it. And if I just really want to go on a limb here, I could even argue that maybe this was the original storyline for the main series. Maybe this is how the Deku and Bakugo story was supposed to end. Bakugo turned into a Nomu, a horrible monster powered by rage, and Deku has to hold him back. Deku has to play with him one last time until whatever it is that's powering him eventually fails, and Bakugo collapses on the ground dead after one last play session with his best friend. Oh, that's dark. That is so very, very dark, but I would not have hated that as a storyline. And maybe the author realized, wait a minute, Bakugo is actually really popular. I'm actually pretty sure he's beaten Deku in almost every single popularity poll they've ever taken, so yeah, I can see why the author decided, okay, let's maybe not kill Bakugo. Maybe that'd be, a bad idea. Let's do something else with him instead. Just an idea, just an idea. Anyway, though, I also really just love the fact that in the flashback, metaphor, whatever, Koichi is missing a tooth, just like he's missing a tooth right now because, Six literally punched it out of his face. It really does make him look like a smiling child, and I love it. I freaking love it. And of course, I still have to ask the question, as I do every chapter, how is this all gonna end? And we saw Koichi say, just gotta have faith and wait for those heroes. I know they'll find a way to make things right. It makes it sound like the heroes are gonna find a way to save Six, but that just seems unlikely, like really, really unlikely. Even All For One said this chapter, you will soon lose control of the runaway combustion process, but rest easy as you burn to nothing. I mean, that was him basically saying that sooner or later, Six is going to die. He can't keep his form up for long, and eventually it will break him. Eventually it will melt him, which I've been, theorizing, speculating about for a very long time. And when I first read this chapter, I assumed, okay, they're going to play together until Six has to go home, by which I mean, die, burn up, reduce himself to nothing but ash. But Koichi's faith in heroes makes me think that maybe they'll find a way to save him, like maybe if Aizawa nullifies his quirk, Six won't die? I mean, Six is a skeleton, well, most of a skeleton, and a brain at this point. I really don't think there's anything in this world that can actually save him, that can actually keep him from dying, so yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be more like, okay, it's gonna be Six and Koichi playing together until the end, and then, they both die, more or less. I mean, Koichi, like I said, he is really badly injured. When the heroes do show up, whenever Six, finally takes his last step and claps to the ground dead, Koichi is gonna follow almost instantly, maybe not dying, but he's gonna black out, absolutely. And I don't just mean for a couple hours to get him to the hospital, I mean like for days or even weeks. By the time he actually wakes up, he will find himself, well, for one, handcuffed to a hospital bed, and two, he'll realize that Pop has already completed a recovery and is up and walking again, and is training to become a pop star with an eye patch. Eye patches are popular, she could make it work, I think so. And I just so can't wait to see that. I mean, this chapter is really good. The two of them, playing back and forth again, almost brought a tear to my eye, but I want the epilogue. I want to know how this all comes to a close already. Oh yeah, speaking of that, we also have, all of Pop's friends, her fellow dancers and whatnot, who are fairly close to all this. I mean, they're close enough where they can actually see Six. I mean, Six is rather large. They can probably see him from quite a distance away, but it looks like just a few blocks. What role are they going to play in all of this? How exactly is Koichi going to keep them safe, or are they going to end up saving him? Are they going to be heroes for Koichi? I mean, that would make a certain amount of sense, but at the same time, I don't think any of their quirks are really, all that battle related. I mean, even if they are, how effective will they be against a giant monster made of plasma? I mean, even among the pros that are present here, only a few of them would really be all that effective against him. I mean, Best Genius wouldn't really work because Six is naked. Ingenium, I mean, he can move fast, but I really don't think he'll be able to do all that much damage. Aizawa might be able to nullify Six's quirk, but again, I'm not really sure if the whole bomber cells are quirk activated or related to some sort of biological feature built into the Nomus, though I'm assuming maybe Six's electricity controlling powers is what's allowing him to manipulate them as he is, so not sure about that. Edgeshot might be able to get close enough to actually, strike Six's brain and take him down that way. All Might be great here. Please, All Might, where the freak are you? Actually, again, I have to keep asking this every chapter. Where are all the heroes? All the bomber Nomus merged into Six, forming this giant freaking kaiju, and there's been a helicopter in the air for the last several minutes. All Might should be very well aware of what's going on here, and yet he still hasn't shown up. I mean, is he just out of time? Has he run out of, hero minutes for the day, and now he just has to watch in horror as this is all playing out without him? I mean, I mean, I've said this before, but I do think that'd be a great way of merging Vigilantes to the main series. Maybe because All Might wasn't able to show up here on time, maybe because All Might wasn't able to save everyone, he'll realize, okay, you know what? I need to find a successor. I need to find someone to take up the role of becoming the next symbol of peace. And maybe he'll have a conversation with Aizawa where he says, oh yeah, I'm teaching at UA. And All Might's like, wait a minute, UA? Future heroes? That's where I'll find a successor. I will become a teacher at UA. I would like that. I would absolutely like that. And I would so love it if All Might offered the quirk to Koichi. I mean, obviously Koichi would say no to it for one reason or another, but at the same time, how amazing would that be? How amazing would it be if Koichi at one point had the chance to become the next symbol of peace? Now, obviously, there's a whole lot of problems with that, but at the same time, it would just be such a great moment. I would so love to see that. But this does actually bring up one last point. What exactly is going to happen to Koichi after all of this? I mean, assuming he doesn't die, because here, even in this chapter, he said when he hears the sound of villains, he instinctively runs towards it. So I can't really imagine him, retiring from vigilantism, even though he said, oh, once I run out of hoodies, I'll stop being a vigilante, I'll stop being a hero, and I'll just get a regular old 9-to-5 job. I can't really imagine him ever fully stopping the whole vigilante thing, even though by this point in the series, he is a very wanted criminal. So, yeah, I have a lot of questions about that, but please let me know down below. What will Koichi do after this fight? Will he retire? Will he die? Will he move to America and become Captain Celebrity's sidekick? I would like to see that. I would really like to see that. Do you think that he and Six were actually friends as kids? I mean, really unlikely, but it'd be an interesting twist. I'd like that. And how is this fight going to end? Where the freak are the pro heroes? And what can they actually do to save Six? Do you think Six even deserves to be saved? I mean, like I said, he really hasn't had much of a choice in his life. He's always been manipulated by All For One, by All For One's doctor, and by his rather severe psychological disorder. But let me know all down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to this next video. And until then, peace!